What's up, everyone? It is Friday. Welcome back to Friday Live with Lauren. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you. Make sure that you come back and see us every Friday. We have awesome guests who come and join our show. This week, we have someone who's so special to me. I met Bree when I first got on LinkedIn and was getting involved heavily in the SaaS community. And we're not talking about being sassy, we're talking about software as a service. And Brie is just such a special person and has done some really incredible things, not just in her career, but for a number of like the women we know. And she's just super supportive. So, everybody, if you are watching, comment down below, show us you're here, and say a big warm welcome to Brie. Hi, Brie.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
How are you today?
You know what? I woke up. Life is good. I have so many blessings. I'm sitting here talking with you. I have great dinner plans. Life is good. I have no complaints.
No complaints. That's the way to go. If you woke up breathing today, you should just be thankful because there were definitely some people who weren't so lucky. Let's say hello really quick. We've got Melissa tuning in. Hi, Melissa. I called Melissa. It was 11:11 her time. So, like, I transcended space to be somewhere at 11:11. Woo-hoo.
Love it.
What's up, Tom? Everybody, if you're not
Hi.
following Tom Slocum, Bree and I are big fans of Tom. Go follow Tom. Friday Live with Lauren always. Hey, Paul. Paul gives some amazing financial advice. Big shout out to Max tuning in. So Max works at the One Cowork where I film my show. So what's up, Max? Thanks for tuning in. Mark is here. Mark is local. Patrick's here. We got a bunch of people in. Chris. Hey, Chris, what's good? Okay, we got a bunch of people coming in. So comment below. Tell us where you're at. Did you work today or did you do something for Cinco de Mayo? We want to know. Don't come at me for some cultural appropriation stuff. Like, y'all, people talk about Cinco de Mayo. It's a thing. Get over it. If you're mad, just tune out and skip this segment. Okay. My homie in-laws, day one. Yes, day one. Bree, who's your day ones that you consider from LinkedIn?
Oh gosh. Well, Tom is definitely up there. I actually got on LinkedIn in 2010. And yeah, I know, OG stuff. And when it was super boring. And so, ironically, like I'm doing another episode with David Zeff, who's the CEO of Whistle, of Mindset, Money, and Muscle. We're going to do that again this next month. But in June, we're going to have a guy named Percy Reynolds on with us. And Percy and I met in 2010 on LinkedIn. And so it's great because, it's amazing the relationships that you can build through this platform and that are long lasting.
It really is. I think I actually like signed up for LinkedIn in 2011. Like, let's be honest, we all had one. It was like a placeholder. It's like where we kept our resume when we were actually employed. And then it was where you came and like scrolled in the bathroom when you were miserable at your job, and you're like, "What else is out there? These people suck." That was like what LinkedIn was for a lot of people for a really long time, right? I mean,
It was so boring. I mean, obviously everything has evolved, but of course the workplace was so different then because, like I got my nose pierced when I was 38 years old. And I remember when I was in my mid 20s and I was yeah, thanks, Tom. When I was in pharmaceutical sales, like there was the actual like dress code, like no piercings, no visible tattoos. I actually would have had to wear pantyhose if I wore a skirt. So it's so funny how in just my work career, how much things have changed, right?
I remember the pantyhose thing. Like when I got my first office job, and my mom was like, "What do you mean you're not wearing pantyhose?" And I'm like, "People don't do that anymore. What are you talking about? I'm not wearing pantyhose." And then like I remember my second office job, it was, like, kinda old school, and they, like, wanted me like, "You had to wear pantyhose." I'm like, "What is this? What is this?"
Right.
No, thank goodness we're moving on from those times. Really quick, Tom just brought it up, so I'm gonna bring it up right now. We're gonna talk about this later in the show, but if you are watching today, let me try y'all know I'm not great with, like, commenting and running my show at the same time, but I'm gonna try really hard to go, find Bree's link and drop it in the comments for you. But if you guys are watching, please, 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 somebody go vote for Bree. It is completely free. I know there's like two kinds of votes. It's a little weird. Just do the free vote. Get Bree some votes. Let her stay up in like first place, y'all. It's so important to her and to me because if anything is important to you, it is important to me. So if you are watching and something's important to you, message me. I'll talk about it on my live show and we'll get out there for the world to see. So okay, thank you, Tom, for bringing that up. Bree, tell us a little bit about this competition and what it means.
Well, so this is great. I never thought I would be in the running to be a cover model, but Muscle and Fitness Hers magazine, which is a fitness publication. There's also Muscle and Fitness, which is just the regular men's version. They run a Ms. and a Mr. Health and Fitness competition every year. And with it comes the cover of the magazine, as well as there's a $20,000 prize. So we all like money. But it's really cool because they open it up. You have to apply. I had a friend of mine who sent me the link when she saw it on Instagram. I work out with her at the gym, said, I think you should really apply for this. So I sent it in, so I was throwing my hat in the ring. And lo and behold, I get a text and they said, hey, you're a finalist. So they picked 20 people out of it. And then it is basically a 2-month program. So LinkedIn, you're going to be hearing me, and anybody who follows me on Instagram or anything, which you will get no professional value out. It's mostly pictures of me flexing on my Instagram, just so you know. That's right.
That's okay.
But it is a thing where, you're able to talk about it over, there's various rounds. The first round ends on the 11th. And so it goes from 20 down to 15 and 15 down to 10. And so then lo and behold, but it takes about 2 months. So hopefully beginning of July, I'll be able to be officially Ms. Health and Fitness 2023.
That would be so incredible. Okay, y'all, we got 11 more days to keep her in this first round. Go vote. I just messaged it to Tom because it won't let me comment on my own show. I don't know why. So I think Tom probably posted it. We'll get through the comments and see. Paul said that you definitely had a full circle moment. Hey, Megan. I wanted Megan to come on this show, but she's not allowed. Leslie's watching. Leslie always shows up as LinkedIn user, but that means Leslie's in the house. Paul has only been on LinkedIn for 8 to 9 months. But he says he was in Hawaii and everybody knows everybody. But Paul, you didn't know all of us. Tom says Bree's the gold standard. She looks incredible and her journey has been amazing. I believe this is Leslie. I could go the rest of my life without ever putting pantyhose on again and be better for it. This is my mother. I don't wear pantyhose anymore. Thanks for joining, Mom. Glad I talk about you every show and you tune in to see. Paul says, hello, Leslie. Great seeing you again for the Friday laughs. Where's the link? Tom got us. Tom in the house. Thank you, Tom. Jody's here. Jody has to watch the replay, wants to pop in and say hi. She will vote for you. That's what it's about, building this community.
Yeah.
Thank Melissa says before and after, Melissa. 80 pounds.
Congrats, Melissa. That's awesome. Then before and after, that was me at 20 years old. That was when I started really the whole fitness and health journey. And I've had ups and downs. A lot of people, like COVID, I definitely struggled during COVID, like most people. But it is definitely about the journey. When you vote, you can vote daily for free. But they also have these warrior votes on there. And the warrior votes go towards the Wounded Warrior Project, which helps build and make accessible homes for our wounded veterans. So it is tied to a good cause.
Okay, so if you're doing that, get a warrior vote and know that you're doing something not just for Bree, but for a number of veterans out there, and you're making their life better too. So that's awesome. 2 for 1, y'all. 2 for 1. And you're going to waste that dollar on something stupid. I gave my son 4 quarters in the car today. So give the dollar to the veterans. Okay. We've been talking for like 10 minutes. We haven't even got on our first topic. So we're going to jump into the actual show today, but we'll try not to do this too much. If we do, oh, well, it's my show. We do what we want. So we're going to jump right into SaaS Transferables. And this is my big moment right now. All my SaaS people watching, I love you. I love you. I love you. But get your head out of your SaaS, because SaaS is not the only thing you can sell. And don't be a sasshole and tell me that you don't want to talk to me if I'm not talking to you about SaaS. Okay. There's a lot of things that are transferable into SaaS, but there's a lot of things you learn in SaaS that are transferable out of SaaS. So Bree and I are going to kind of go over both of those today. Yeah. All right, Bree, where should we begin? What's the biggest thing that you think people should kind of be mindful of when they're on their kind of career journey, whether into or out of SaaS?
I would say one of the biggest things that I took out of SaaS was the advancement in my tech stack, right? Because you are exposed to so many different things for your work life. And sometimes too much. Some of my past employers would just be like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's try this out. And then like never train anybody and then waste money. But there are a lot of really great, options in the tech stack. And the nice thing about having that knowledge is that as the rest of the work world is ever evolving, taking that ability to say, hey, yeah, not only do I know HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever, I can, take that into another role, into another company, be, a trainer, be somebody who is able to be the expert on the team at it. Because various industries are just now getting on board with some of that stack. And it's a really strong, anybody I talk to who either wants to get into SaaS or, just wants to advance their life, especially in sales. I always bring up the training that they can access much of it for free, like, through all the online tutorials and everything else, through, HubSpot and Salesforce and Jira and everything else, Atlassian.
There's so many companies that when I'm talking to executives about recruiting for them and we start talking about, like what kind of tech stack do your employees, like your potential candidates need to know? Well, we use like a Google Sheet. I'm like, you do a what? Oh, what? Uh-huh. So they're really, like you said, there's so many companies that are so far behind in that technology aspect and they don't even know what's out there. So I think that's the other thing. Like, even if you don't know every tool, right? Like there are some tools that I don't know that well. I'm trying to learn them better. Like shout out Amelia, Reggie. I'm trying to learn Reggie. Like I'm just very busy. Let's be fair. It's just not something, but it's something that like I know about. I know what it does. I could tell someone about it and kind of like, ooh, Lauren does have a little bit more knowledge. I don't even really know what I'm talking about, but I know about a tool that you don't know about. So there are a lot of things that you can learn in SaaS and take with you in your next career. But I think a big thing is helping other industries kind of play catch up. Do you see that?
Oh, I totally see that, especially, you bring up the Google Sheets, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in my career, working off of those and having, to struggle because it just wasn't efficient. Right. And I think the beautiful thing about working in SaaS and understanding how to utilize the tech stack, and also it people I do like to ask, I have no problem asking somebody if I don't understand something. But last I checked, there's also this little thing called Google out there. And like if you don't know how to use something, typing it in, getting on YouTube. I mean, there's so many tutorials out there. But I think that, there are a lot of people, during these transitional times, there are a lot of people who want to take a leap into the entrepreneurial world, right? And they might think that, gosh, I'm not quite sure what I need to do. How do I set up my business? But and you're great about sharing tools that have really enhanced your business. And there are so many options out there that we can start with as entrepreneurs that aren't the top tier paid version that maybe our company paid for, right? That,
100%.
we don't need all the options. We just need to get the basic framework and get it going. And, knowing how to use those tools, I think is a huge asset to any entrepreneur who wants to jumpstart their business.
100%. I love that you brought that up because another big thing for me when I went off on my own was not just knowing the tools, because I had tools I knew, but they weren't affordable for me. I was like, hi, Zoom info. Nah, never happening. Like, no, don't ever call me again. By the way, Zoom info. No, thank you. But like literally, it was just not affordable. And there was no option where it could ever be affordable. And I also didn't like the seller that was selling to me at all. Like, y'all, you can put a bad taste in someone's mouth real quick. Don't do that. But it literally made me research their competitors and it made me start using trials of this company and that company and ask my peers and what's working for you. And a few weeks ago, I had Jesse Willett on the show who runs the yacht club, the SaaS ship. And it's really incredible the knowledge that SaaS salespeople and marketers and just everybody in SaaS in general, they like to give out knowledge for free, y'all. I know we see a lot of paywalls and buy my course and but there's a lot of people on LinkedIn and in the SaaS community who want to help you for free. For free. How many calls have you had, Bree, with somebody who's just picked up the phone to help you just because they could?
Oh, I mean, tons, and vice versa. What I found is that most people, I believe, generally have good intentions, and if you're very specific about your ask, and because people are busy, like like if I've if somebody just wants to have coffee, like, I'm not opposed to having coffee, but like, what are we talking about? Especially if it's somebody who like I could send you a message and say, hey, do you want to have coffee? And it'd be different because we've developed a relationship. But
Right.
it is being very specific. And like when I found my business in 2010, I found it because I was very specific. I looked at the person's profile. I said, this is really interesting to me. Do you have time to talk about this? And especially if you're talking, most people love to talk about themselves. Most
Yep.
people love to talk about themselves. And if you can say, hey, this is really interesting, would you tell me a little bit more about it? Most people will give you a little bit of time. And so, and it's being that, like Tom said, give. It's being willing to show up and give, be authentic, be who you say you are, and do that for other people.
I love that. I love that. Like Tom says, give, and give some more.
Mm-hmm.
Tom was a big part of that in my life when I got on LinkedIn of helping me learn. And I'm not ashamed to say, like, anytime I had one of those questions that like you feel like the dumb kid in class, like, oh my God, everybody's going to be so annoyed if I ask one more question, I'd be like quietly DMing Tom, like, what does this mean? And what is that person? Like, what is that? I don't understand. So shout out Tom, thanks for you.
Yeah.
But the community has really been incredible for me. And now seeing a lot of, and let's be honest, like I'm just gonna be very straightforward. The SDR role is hard. Like I understand that people consider that the entry level, whatever SaaS role, but that's one of the hardest roles. And we're having entry level people do it. And
Mm-hmm.
how many people are burnt out and tapping out over their mental health? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not the easiest field to be in. So I just want to like quickly say, whether you're in SaaS, you're leaving SaaS, you need to get out of SaaS, whatever, like you have value beyond being a SaaS seller.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know everybody says tech's the new industry, but
And I think that one thing people need to realize, especially as we are in this work from home world, that finding ways to stay connected with your team and others is important. There are various platforms out there, where you can get together, even if you work at different companies, and even over Google Meet, where you're just kind of in the background working together, but from your homes. I've worked from home since 2013, and I'm very autonomous in my work anyway. So for me, working from home is something that I prefer to do because I'm like, just let me get my stuff done. Just let me get it done.
100%.
But not everybody works that way. And it can be really lonely in the SDR world, even if you are an introvert, right? It can be really lonely when you're working from home and you get your teeth kicked in. Top of funnel sales, you got to be okay with getting your teeth kicked in over and
Yeah.
over and over again. But, you can't take it personally and you have to remember why you're doing it and what your goal is. A lot of people, they want to be that, enterprise AE. Well, you got to start somewhere. And and at the same time, however, I've been in organizations. The last place I was at, there was a great guy who was a established 30-year seller, excellent in his field, new to the world of technology. So there were things that he had to learn, in terms of, how do I use Salesloft? How do I use Salesforce? All those things that he, even in his vast knowledge and career, didn't have that tech stack ability yet. So, that learning back and forth from each other of, hey, you teach me some of your magic that you've learned over 30 years. Let me show you some of this.
There's so much magic to go around. Yes. Teach the magic, spread the magic. We're all just gonna be walking around with little like fairy godmother wands. Big shout out to Alexis, by the way, fairy job mother. If y'all aren't following Alexis Scott, go follow Alexis Scott for starting the fairy job mother. Super, super impressive. And also let's drop this down here right now. Follow Bree. I'm gonna drop that down there so we don't forget. All right, we're gonna move into our next topic, which I'm so excited about. Y'all know if you've been following me for any kind of time at all, I love to post videos. I post videos all the time. When I started posting on LinkedIn about a year ago, there just weren't that many people posting videos. Now it's totally different. But a year ago, I was like the one, and I was like, yay, it's different. It's all the same now. But why video works? Bree has been posting some phenomenal videos, capturing attention, maintaining the watcher. Like, tell people, like, one, why did you start filming videos? Where did that come from? And then how is it working for you?
Yeah, well, I love video content. And video content with captions. I like that LinkedIn has the option now, or it automatically will put the captions on there. I like using an app to make my content, my captions bold. But I was I had a business, and it was a nutrition network marketing business for 10 years that I was really successful in. And I was successful because I was willing to put myself out there in many ways. In particular, I was an early adapter to to Facebook Lives, right? And video, you have to be able to captivate the attention in a very short moment. And that's a skill that takes some time for people to really get. Like I even like when I look at YouTube videos, I'm like, oh, if this is, X number of minutes, I'm not even, unless it's a speaker who I really want to watch, I'm like, I'm not watching it. Right. Yeah. And so being able to articulate a message in a short period is really important. And getting animated. We are people who are visual learners too, and we are we look at body language and whatnot. But video in itself is just another way to put that face. It makes you human. It humanizes you, and being able to utilize that throughout my career has been really helpful. In fact, Tim Savage, the reason he brought me on over at Science when he and I worked together the first time was because he knew that I had built my network marketing business with social media, with video. And so he brought me over to be their first video SDR and help build that team out. And it was a really cool experience, but it is not for everyone. Not everybody feels comfortable in front of the camera. I always joke and say that maybe I should be an actress, but there's still time. There's still time. Maybe I'll do that at some point. But
I mean, I made up my own talk show when I wanted one, so you can do anything.
You can. That's the best part. But it is tremendously helpful in humanizing you, I would say. That's probably the biggest thing. And if you can make it entertaining and short, then it's a win. It's a win.
I think you're kind of answering Paul's question. Paul wants to know, Bree, I'm curious, what are some of your best tips to both capture and maintain attention?
People like familiarity. So if you'll notice my videos, the majority of them have a very similar background. So, and I wear usually very similar type clothing. And I keep my message ideally well under a minute. Usually my videos are right about a minute. I think my video today was 38 seconds. So articulating that message in a entertaining way, in a recognizable format helps, because that way as people are scrolling through, and you'll notice this a lot, like look at any of, and this is just branding, I mean, look at any of the, top podcasters, right? And people who are top YouTubers, most all of them have a very similar background and similar format. Now, I'm sure that there are other people who are video who would have different opinion, but that's just what I see. So that's what I follow. And I think that making sure that, you think about your content ahead of time, and like, if you're going to have a theme. So like for the next 8 weeks, pretty much everything you're going to see from me is going to be motivational and somewhat tied to fitness, but fitness is my thing anyway. So have a theme in your content that you're going to talk about. Relevance, make sure it's relevant, and a good call to action in there, which is something that I don't always do, but I need to make sure I do, is always helpful.
Yeah, the call to action is important. It's so funny when I listen to people talk about their content strategies, and in my head, I'm like, oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do that. Oh, I should do that. And then I walk out of the building and something pisses me off, and I get my phone out and I post on LinkedIn, and it's like, damn it, I was going to do it different this time. I just can't help myself. And that's just going to be my strategy, I think, forever. But it's interesting. I really feel like some people who plan their content, like, not only are they planning it so it's well thought out, but like I'm looking forward to that next piece. Like I've really enjoyed some people I've seen lately doing like series pieces. Like this is the first part of my story. Come back tomorrow for part 2. I'm like, what happens in part 2? Like I find myself coming back for that. So I would think about that a little bit too, Paul. Maybe like save a teaser for your next post the next day so they want to come back.
Absolutely. I'm going to write that down as a reminder, because, I think about things with things like TikTok, for example. If you go down the rabbit hole of TikTok, what do you say? Don't forget that TikTok.
Yeah, Paul says he didn't care for his time on TikTok, but it taught him a lot about clarity and being concise.
Exactly. And it's not for everyone. And people have to find the platforms that work for them. And I think one thing people forget often when they post the same exact content across all platforms is it's not going to resonate the same with everybody on each platform. So having a strategy that is going to resonate, and I think some of the best content creators, if you really take a time to look at their stuff, you'll notice that they might have, say, it might be the same podcast episode where they put it on YouTube, but each bit of content that they put out there is different, yet it's still tied to the same episode depending on the platform they're using. But I love the part one, part two, because if you look at, some of the best TikTokers, follow me for part two. You see a lot. And then next thing you know, you click on you're
or you see a viral video.
What?
You'll see a viral video and realize it's part two. And then you're going back like, where's part one?
Exactly. You're like, where I missed out in the story, because I think as the human brain, as we try to organize things in our brain, we want to know what part of the story, or like before and afters are great, because if people know there was a before, but all they saw is the after, they're going to be like, oh, what was that? I want to go back and see what that was before.
Yeah, no. And I love your before and after picture for your competition. It's just inspiring, right? Like, it doesn't, like you said, like maybe you'll be an actress next year. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can literally do anything. You can do anything you want to do at any age. At any age. Age is like a made up number. Time is a made up constraint. It's all whatever. I'll get canceled for that one probably, but it is what it is, y'all. Like, you can do whatever you want. Just you're probably the one holding yourself back more than anybody else.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, we could have these time is illusion. We can talk metaphysics some other time. But I think that when it comes down to the journey, like I think about this a lot now. I think about it a lot in this last year. And I think before we went on air, I said, you realize that things don't always have to look the way that you once thought. And sometimes when we talk resumes and everything, I'll have people look at my resume and they're like, wow, you've done a lot of different things. And in one part of my brain, I want to say, yeah, I've learned a lot of things that really sucked that I don't want to do again.
Right. I learned what I didn't like.
But when I did talk about transferable skills, I learned things in each position that I was able to take to the next.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is that if you look at where you are, like where I was in my mid-20s and I was in pharmaceutical sales, I would have told you that by now, early 40s, that I would be a regional vice president in pharmaceuticals. Thank God that didn't work out. I absolutely hated everything about it. Everything.
Yep.
Paid me a lot of money. I loved the company car, all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't for me. And I think that, it's being open. It's being open to look at things different and saying, well, why not? What could I do versus what should I do? Because when you say, what could I do, you open up opportunity and possibility versus, well, I should do that. It leaves you closed off.
I love that. All right. So that's our halfway point. I'm going to just follow up on that last thing that Bree said. If you are watching today, go grab the book Think Again by Adam Grant and think differently. Okay. We're going to take a short 40-second break. We'll be right back. We're back. Well, Bree will be back in just a minute, but I wanted to come on really quickly and ask everyone, what guests would you like to see on the show? We're booked out until, well, I'm booked out. I don't know why I say we for the show. That's kind of weird, right? I'm booked out for the show through August, but I'm trying to get some new guests in the fall, and the people I bring on the show, I'm bringing on for all of you who come to watch. So tag who you want to see on the show so I can reach out to them and we can get some new guests coming on that you guys want to tune in for, or else it'll just be me all fall and we'll see if you show up for just that. But let's bring Bree back. We had a little short break so that we can breathe for a moment. An hour is like, it goes quickly, but like sometimes I'm like, man, I need a drink of something more than water on camera. And I'm drinking horrible Red Bull today, like horrible. Celsius, where are you at? Why are you not sponsoring me yet? Highball, like, can we get a decent energy drink in here, sending me some good products? I'm trying really hard to get Fro Pro. Somebody go tag Fro Pro. We're gonna keep tagging them every single episode until Fro Pro will work with me. What's up,
Well, I
Chelsea?
saw one of your guests is the cookie company, right?
They're
Grove.
coming on next week.
No, I
Yes.
totally
Or
bought
is
their
it next week
product.
or the week?
2
They're
weeks,
coming
right?
on. No, it's in 2 weeks. The Grove Cookie Crew is coming on in 2 weeks. But Fro Pro is actually a local product. That's why I'm trying to get involved with them. They're local to where we live in Florida. They're in Delray by me. They're in Whole Foods. It's a phenomenal bar. You should try these. Are you allergic to nuts?
Nope.
Okay, you should try these. They're like fitness, like they're phenomenal. They're in the refrigerated section. So like if you just go to the normal bars, you're not going to find them. They're refrigerated. The marshmallow one, the toasted marshmallow one, I ate it on a show here. Like literally I thought I was going to go to heaven in that moment. It was so good. Bree and I have a weird obsession together over Publix carrot cake. If you live in Florida and you've ever had Publix carrot cake, or if you've ever just had it and you don't live here, like let us know if you love it as much as we do. I'm gonna send one to Bree for her birthday and like maybe her cover competition. I don't know.
Well, fortunately, the cover competition ends, but then like they give you have to be available for the photo shoot within 60 days. So I'm very comfortable with how my body looks, but I'm like, shoot, if I have to get like photo shoot ready, I'm gonna be tightening up that diet and telling Publix carrot cake, stay away from me.
Stay away from me, carrot cake. Carrot cake. All right. Well, we're already talking about fitness a little bit. Obviously, if you're watching the show, you've heard us talking about Bree is competing for the cover of Muscle and Fitness, hers 2023, right? Did I say all that right? Did I miss something?
Ms. Health and Fitness 2023.
Okay.
Title.
I tried. It's
You got
it's a
it.
mouthful.
Yeah.
But Bree is competing. So one of the things I want to talk about today, it's been important to me, and getting to work from home actually like really allowed me to start focusing on my fitness. It allowed me to go back to the gym to make time for those kinds of things. So Bree, I just want to talk a little bit about how has fitness kind of changed your life? Obviously, I know that's a big topic and you could probably go on for hours, but like we're gonna keep it to 10 minutes. But how has fitness changed your life? And then like what advice would you give to people watching who can't make the time?
Mm-hmm. Well, first and foremost, you have the time. It's just not a priority. So own that shit. Just own it. Excuse my language. Everybody says, I don't have the time. Well, you have the time to scroll through LinkedIn, don't you? You have the time to, watch a Netflix show. So you've got 30 minutes to go ahead and work out. You got to schedule it in. So for me, I think the biggest tip I would tell anybody is you schedule it in and you make it a non-negotiable. And also you tie your why to it. Why am I doing this? You see my title, I'm working on being the world's fittest grandmother. My granddaughter is 9 months old. My son is grown and married. I did not have him as a youngster. I had him, I was 22 when I had him. And he started younger. He and his wife started younger than I would have liked, but that's a whole other story. Do as I say, not as I do, doesn't really apply here. Anyway, but I made a decision too, especially when I knew she was going to come into the world, that because I have control for the most part over my health, I decided that she was going to get to know me only as my grandma name is Foxy. If you follow me on Instagram, FOXXY. I refuse to be called grandma yet. But that is, my fitness alter ego. And I only want her to know me as fit and healthy. I want her to know me as the grandma who can play with her anytime. And so my why in fitness has evolved over the years. When I was 20, I found, and I'm 5'9". I have a body type that not only can put on muscle really easy, but I can pack on pounds real easy. And a lot of that being it's Mental Health Awareness Month, I can look back on pictures of myself and I can see exactly where my mental health was, because I went to my coping mechanism, which was always food, right? And not exercising. So I found fitness when I was 20 through a little program called Body for Life. It was a book, and his name was Bill Phillips. He was a bodybuilder who wrote it, and he had a 90-day challenge. It was like one of the first transformation challenges. And I found it so much fun and fascinating to me. Like, what could my body do in 90 days? How could I get stronger? And can I pick up that weight? Can I do this? And the nice thing I would say, especially we can apply this to sales, right? We set goals, right? And fitness is just the same. People want to think though of that big long-term goal, saying, gosh, like for example, I have 60 pounds to lose. Well, yeah, but if you lose 5 pounds a month, that's 60 pounds in a year. So deconstructing the goal is a better way to set yourself up for success. But I found that program, fell in love with it because I was a non-traditional student, also known as a college dropout. When I decided to go back to school, to which I had a 7-month-old baby to go back to school with me full time at Indiana University, I decided I was going to study exercise science. And to be honest, I had no career plan at that point. But what I did have was a desire to help other people. I've always had this word of service. And all I knew is that exercise and eating the right foods made me feel a certain way and I could help other people. So that's why if you look at my resume, the majority of my career has actually been in wellness of some point, of some type, or health and fitness. But that's really where it started. And now how I treat fitness is it's attached to the fact that I think about how I age. And there are diseases of lifestyle that are things that you have control over. And I'm not saying you got to be a party pooper. I'm not saying you're never going to have a piece of carrot cake again, or you're never going to have, because you're going to go to a wedding, you're going to want to eat some wedding cake. But, it is learning to live with a healthy lifestyle that you can then enjoy those indiscretions, we'll say, and have that in there. But it comes down to really tying to why are you doing it? And for me, I have longevity in my family and I like quality of life, not quantity. Because if I live into my 90s, I want my 90s to be freaking amazing. I don't want to be in my 90s on all types of maintenance medication because I didn't take the action necessary to avoid those things. So really getting crystal clear in your why. Now, if you just want your butt to look a certain way for vacation, I think that's fantastic too. But then once you achieve that, well, then what, right? So I get to the point now where I set metrics. Like I love benchmark workouts. Like today I was stoked because we had chest press as an exercise. I do Orange Theory Fitness. And I had 50-pound dumbbells in each hand, and I was able to do 50-pound dumbbell chest presses. So 100 pounds.
That's incredible.
And it felt great. But did I start there? No. But the fact is you can put muscle on at any age. And here I am in my 40s and I'm getting stronger and I'm getting faster, but I'm also being very, very intentional about my workouts. And I think that's all where it starts, is being intentional about what you're doing.
I love that. Fitness is really intentional. Not just working out, right? Like you talked about your diet and all of it all correlates. And like you said, break it down. It's not, I gotta lose 60 pounds. Like that's like being an AE and being like, I gotta close this way. Like break it down, baby steps, little tiny bits and pieces still get us there.
It's the activities, right? It's the activities of daily life. And one of the most underrated exercises is walking. First of all, it's weight bearing. So you are building muscle. The metrics of 10,000 steps is really, it's so variable, but moving as much as you can, take the stairs as much as you can. Living here in Florida and, a lot of, single story homes where there aren't stairs, people who come to my building, I live in a 3-story historic walk up, and there are people who they get to the top floor and they're like huffing and puffing because they're not used to simply moving their body upstairs. So purposeful movement is really the key to success. I have a standing desk too. If you're in an office place that has those desks that go up and down, use them. And get yourself a pressure mat too, though, because you want to make sure it's ergonomically correct because you don't want to hurt your back standing on concrete. But, movement is really, it doesn't take a lot. It just simply means that you're intentional about it.
100%. And y'all, there's other ways to like not necessarily be intentional, but like be intentional about still like wanting to complete the goal when you're not in the right headspace, right? Like it's Mental Health Awareness Month. I feel like it's only like right to talk about some of this stuff, but today I wasn't in the headspace. Like I was not going to the gym. I wasn't going to work out. Like I wasn't there. This morning was hard for me. And I needed, like, when I get to that point, I need a project. Like completing a project helps me. And in that moment, it's like, okay, what project do I have that's kind of physical? Okay, well, I can go do yard work. Yard work's outside. It's in the sun. I'll move around. I'll bend. I'll pick weeds. I'll stand up. Like, it's physical. By the end of the yard work, I was sweating so hard. I was like, why didn't I just go to the gym? And my yard looks much better. But it's about having the intention of, even if it's not the way you think. Like Bree said earlier in the show, it doesn't have to be the way you intended it to be in the beginning. If this morning I woke up and my plan was that I was going to go to the gym and I was going to do all these things and that didn't happen, that's okay. But what am I still doing to be intentional about my goal?
And I believe in the some is better than none. And I look at it this way, that, it is, we are reward driven in a lot of ways. In my video today, my 38-second video is about the fact that research shows that even 5 minutes of cardiovascular activity reduces your stress and anxiety. Actually, exercise is the world's best antidepressant and probably the most underused. If you change your physiology, you change how you feel. And so getting up and getting moving is really important, but having a structured routine, if you don't plan, what is it? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? And so a lot of people will go to the gym and they'll go, oh, I want to work out, but then they don't know what to do because they don't have a fitness background and they're overwhelmed. Most every gym will give you free, if you go to a big box gym, we'll give
Do you go to the gym with me? Like, do you watch me when I walk in the gym and you're like, oh, Lauren, this segment's just for you? And I stand there and I'm like, I really should have thought about this before I got here today. Like, you're speaking to my heart.
Well, a lot of people feel that way. And then they go to the gym and then they're frustrated because they don't feel like they're getting results. And they're not getting results just simply because they don't have the information of what they need to do. And there's so much information out there, but I highly recommend, if you're brand new to fitness, go to an educated fitness professional. It is one of the best. This is not a cost. This is an investment in your health. A cost is having to pay for type 2 diabetes medication. That's a cost. A cost is having to, consider weight loss surgery. I used to work in bariatrics. That's a cost. So, really get your mindset around what is an investment in me and what is a cost. And
we invest in other people all the time. Like, why won't we invest in ourselves? What is it that's holding us back? I go to the store, I'll buy something for my kid, hands down. But then it's like, for me, it's like, y'all, you're worth it. You're worth it.
Absolutely. And I think that, your health is your best investment because, in the long run, our most valuable asset is time. And, having the energy to live life like you want to live is priceless. It's priceless.
Yeah. Like Clint Eastwood says, wake up every morning and don't let the old man in, right?
Absolutely.
Just don't let the old in. Just stay up. My husband makes fun of me because I have a lot of friends who are younger than me, but it's because like they help me feel young. And it's like I'll go out until 2 a.m. and it's like I'm out, I'm awake, I'm alive. I'm not that mom who's in bed every night at 8 o'clock when I put my kid to sleep, but I'm snoring because that's normally like my reality is I put my kid to bed and I fall asleep too.
Yep.
When people are like, why aren't you active on LinkedIn after 8 p.m. anymore? It's like, because I'm so tired.
Hey, I get up. I got up at 4:30 this morning. I'm an early bird anyway, and I was at the gym at 5:30. But I get up so I can meditate and everything first thing in the morning. But I am not a super late night owl anymore. Lots of times, if people are like, "Oh, let's go ahead and have like tonight we're having dinner. Our reservations at 8," and I'm like,
"That's pretty late. That's pretty late for dinner."
That's pretty late, but it's a beautiful new gluten-free place in St. Pete, all bougie and farm to table. So it'll be good. It'll be good.
I'm a little jealous now. I like that I have the option to still kind of feel that when I want to feel it. Mm-hmm. Well, but I can be at home with my kid and my family if I need to be.
Well, and I think that, like I said, I joke with the whole, you've seen me joke on Instagram and stuff about the, age is just a number, mostly referring to, my dating life. But the thing is that it really is. I mean, exercise reduces your physiological age by 12 years. 12 years. So here I am, 43 years old. So that makes me, 31? So, the thing is that it is just such a powerful agent in your life in so many ways, but in particular, stress relief. Like I noticed Paul talking about walking, like stress reduction. It is just so important.
I skipped this earlier, but since you just brought up your dating life, we definitely had somebody tuning in today who wants a girlfriend. Like I just skipped over this comment because it's not what this show is about, Patrick, but shoot your shot. Okay. The second thing Paul talked about, I just had to run back really quick when you said that. Paul says, I learned a powerful lesson about discipline being aggressive patience. What do you think about that? Focus on standards more than feelings because there will be many times when I don't feel like doing it.
Oh, I mean, most people think that I just feel like getting up at 4:30 in the morning and 5 on the weekends. I feel like doing it. Most time, no, that's a complete lie. I don't feel like doing it, but I never regret it once I've done it. And also that some is better than none mentality, that there are going to be days where you need to listen to your body and just rest. There is nothing wrong. In fact, you need the recovery. You need to be able to have it. But if you miss a day, one day without working out does not mean you're going to lose your fitness. One bad meal does not mean that you're never going to be healthy. Right? I totally had a burger and fries the other night, and it was amazing. At a greasy diner, loved every bit of it. But it is allowing yourself to be human still. And, I like that aggressively patient because it's a journey. I mean, there is no end. There is no end until you take your last breath. That's the end.
No, there's really not. Oh, please don't message me in the middle of my live show if you're watching. Thank you. That person who just messaged me, I won't call you out. Appreciate you. I'll come to your live show next time you have one. Okay, let's move into our last topic of the day. We only have 13 minutes left. I'm telling you, it feels long in the beginning, but then it flies through. So, yeah, we talked about content and why video works and all this kind of stuff, but there's also a time and place for a digital detox. So, Brie, have you ever done a digital detox?
Oh, totally. I try to digitally detox. My phone is in do not disturb most of the time. And
I can attest to that because when I try to text you, it says Brie has her notifications turned off, notify anyway. And I'm like, damn it. No, it's fine. She'll see it when she sees it.
Exactly. And thank you for not being so tied to instant gratification, because I have people who are like, your phone's always in do not disturb. I'm like, because I do not want to be disturbed. That's why. But
I don't want you to call me all the time. I miss having a landline.
Oh gosh. And so, like, patience, I will get back to you. Same thing with, like, messaging apps. Lots of times I actually will return messages on LinkedIn or other thing at like 5 in the morning because most people aren't up at that time expecting me to get right back to them. But digital detox for me, it's so important for my overall wellness, because I think it's real easy to get caught up in the life of comparison in any social media platform. You see it all the time. And like that little voice will creep into your head of like, well, I'm not doing that. Maybe I should be doing that. Or like why are they doing that? Or, how come I didn't get invited to that? So those are little things. But I think also, if you just look at the science, the screen time, we are still living in the same physiological bodies that we were when we were living in caves. And so we are not designed to sit underneath fluorescent lights in a nice, comfortable environment in front of blue screens. We're not supposed to. Hello, Manish. We're not supposed to do that. It's just not how our bodies are designed. So I do this little thing a lot of people don't do, unfortunately. It's called reading. And and I don't own a TV. I've never been a big TV watcher. When I listen to a lot of podcasts. When I want to watch something, I'll throw it on Amazon Prime on my laptop, and I'll sit in front of my little laptop and watch a show. But
are you in Leslie's book club?
I don't think I am, but it sounds like I need to
get in
be.
Leslie's book club. I'll send you the link. Leslie has a book club. She just had a session a few days ago. I missed it. I had a thing with my kid. But yeah, you got to get in Leslie's book club. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Love that. Yeah, so I spend in the evenings, there's a certain point in time where I end up checking out. And I let my body, because this is why people have sleep issues and everything else. I let my body get away from the light. I do activities that are minimally stimulating. Like, I can read by the light, but I'm not getting overworked by anything. And also there are times like there have been times I've completely gotten off social media where I've deactivated my Facebook account. my Instagram at one point with my previous business, I actually got rid of my old Instagram that had thousands and thousands of people because I needed a break. And you don't have to go to that extreme, but I think that taking periods of time, like there's a place up in a camp, I think it's called Camp Underground. It's in Northern California, and they have adult summer camp where like you don't even like, yeah, we should totally go. Like,
yeah, book it, book it.
Right. And like you get to go, you don't even use your real name because they have people who are like highly, they have executives from all over the world that come to this, and they don't want you networking with your business card. They want you to be kids, because somewhere as adults, we forget how to play and we forget how to just have fun. So they have adult summer camps called Camp Underground, and they specialize in digital detoxing. So like you go and like you get a name, like you're going to be Popcorn or whatever your name is for the 4 days. You don't even get to use your real name. You just get to have fun. And you can either camp in tent. They have like arts and crafts and archery. And so like, I think it's important to do that. And because we're so used to, and I've been guilty of myself, I'm on vacation, I'm going to Instagram every single picture. Or, you know what, if you go to a concert, nobody wants to watch your concert live streamed on Facebook.
They don't care.
And because what, you're missing it.
Enjoy your concert, people. Enjoy your concert. We don't care.
Missing it. You're missing your concert. So put the freaking phone away. Like tonight at dinner, like I love the fact that I can be present with people, and like my phone will be away. And like when my phone's in do not disturb, the only people who can get through are my parents and my son and his wife.
Yeah.
That's it. Because obviously if there's an emergency, those are the people who should be contacting me for an emergency. Because I'm not anyone's emergency contact that I know of. If I am, you should tell me.
Tell me so you could get through. Or click send the notification anyway.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't leave my phone on do not disturb, but I leave it on silent all the time. I'm very, very guilty about, I'll turn it on silent and then I will not remember it's on silent for like a week and a half until I've lost my phone and my husband's calling it because he can't find it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's on silent. It's always on silent. Turning off LinkedIn sounds helped me sometimes turn the volume back on. Y'all, I have a post about that. If you want to learn how to turn your LinkedIn sounds off, DM me. I'll get it to you. Because that's annoying. I'm sorry, LinkedIn. Like y'all with 90 batch updates. Did you get 90 batch updates like last night?
I get, yeah, but I don't think I've ever had my LinkedIn sounds on. I think they're always off.
Oh, lucky you. When they did their update, maybe you haven't updated your app in a minute, because when they did the update, all these weird sounds started coming on. Look, Tom's with us. Love do not disturb. He's another one that I go to text him. It's like, Tom has do not disturb turned on. I'm like, damn it, Tom, I really needed you to answer this question for me. Used to be way too accessible, not anymore.
I think that that's important too. My ex, this is what I learned. People will respond the way that you condition them to respond. So, and this is why I said instant gratification. My ex, this is years ago when I was married. I was in the height of building my business. And I think as a lot of entrepreneurs are, you think that everything has to be done right now. Well, I was in the vitamin business, right? There's no vitamin emergency. So So when somebody texts me at night and I immediately get back to them, right? It lets the expectation to say, oh, Bree's gonna get back to me immediately, even if it's 11 o'clock at night. And so my ex says to me, I really hate it when you bring people into the bedroom. And I'm like, whoa, like what is going on? I know not LinkedIn appropriate, sorry.
But no, you're fine, I don't care.
I was like, what do you mean? Like, do you have to have that conversation on text right now? But it was really eye-opening because
it's true though.
I was setting the precedent that you can contact me at 11 o'clock at night and I'm going to get back to you. And in fact, I've told employers that I've worked for when I've not been in a leadership role, I said, that's fine. You can Slack at 3 a.m. when you're working, but I won't be responding. That's not my work hours. I'm sorry.
I have PTSD from Slack at I guess it was 2 companies ago now, but I have PTSD and people are like, I guess this is the other thing I should just announce it. I'm getting rid of my Slack for the accountability group because I was like, oh, I'm going to build this community. I have PTSD from being on Slack. Me putting Slack on my phone and getting notifications for all this stuff was horrible for my mental health. And it was helping people in my group. So I'm like, oh, I have to keep doing it, but it's so hard. But I have to keep no, I'm getting rid of it. I'm sorry. Not worth it for me. Love you all. Go build your own group. but it just wasn't something that worked for me. So that's the other thing, like detox from the things that don't work for you. Just because they work for someone else doesn't mean they have to be a focus in what you're doing now.
Well, and I think that you can have boundaries with your employer. So, like right now, I'm doing some contract work for a friend who left tech, who started a solar company, and I told him, like, well, first of all, if you're not paying for my cell phone, you ain't getting anything on my cell phone. You're just not. Sorry, that's part of my comp plan. If you're going to pay for my cell phone, then I might put Slack on it, but I'm not putting Slack on there for my own mental health. And I think it's different, obviously, in people in higher up leadership roles. They have to be more connected. But for people who are worker bees in the hive, take control of your mental health and take your peace back. And know that you don't have to be connected all the time unless it's some type of emergency, like the company is going to burn down if your role does not respond, which is few and far between.
It's not happening, one. And to Bree's point, like the other thing that saved me and my mental health when I was in a corporate job, yes, I was in leadership, but like Bree said, I wasn't so high up in leadership that the company was going to burn down if I didn't respond.
Mm-hmm.
So, y'all, one of the biggest things and the biggest pieces of advice I will give out is to take your work email off of your cell phone. If someone needs you immediately, they're calling you, they're texting you, if somebody's emailing you, it's expected that it's going to take you some time to get back to them. They're not expecting an email or response right away. Take your damn work email off your personal cell phone. You don't need it dinging on a Saturday morning. You don't need it dinging on a Sunday when you're in church. You don't need it on a Friday night when you're at no. Take your work email off. Take it off. Okay, sorry.
I guess one tangent that I would like to say on this, two things. Those of you in leadership, respect the time off people have. And so, therefore, unless, again, the company is burning down, if you send a Slack, you know that they're on time off, give them that. But don't think, oh gosh, now I'm going to reach out on WhatsApp. Now I'm going to reach out on LinkedIn. Now I'm going to reach out on every platform I can because I have an immediate need and I'm disrespecting the boundary that they have set. That's just not cool. And honestly, it's not a good example of a leader. And so in this world, and I think the last thing I would say in terms of your work life and myself, and I had to learn is in this work from home world, unless you're a solopreneur, if you're sick, take your freaking sick day. And realize, especially in this world of unlimited PTO, take your time. And if you're sick, don't work. It's no different than you going into an office if you were sick. And that's very individual, but I think that, we as Americans, we work, and we work so that we can live. We don't live so that we can work. It's about our quality of life.
And it's top down. So like leaders, I know that I get some founders and like CEOs who watch the show. Leaders, if you're watching, like you have to take a sick day. Mm-hmm. You have to take time off. You have to show your staff that it's okay because they've got trauma from their last boss who pretended like it was okay and it wasn't. Mm-hmm. So be the example. Okay, and with that, I think we're literally at the end of the show. So, Bree, normally I just ask, like, at the very end, like, do you have any fun Friday facts you'd like to share with it or with the audience, or like, where can they follow you and how can people find you and get in touch with you?
Well, you can follow me on LinkedIn, again, Bree Sprague. You can follow me on Instagram, which I'm going to tell you, it's called Foxy's Fit Life or Bree Sprague. It's a lot of fitness. It's a lot of flexing. It's a lot of food, snarky comments. It is really not anything business related. It's just fun, but you are welcome to follow me there. And if you have, I'm going to be working on expanding my coaching business, my coaching brand. So Lauren's helping me with some great stuff. So, feel free to pop into my messenger on LinkedIn and ask questions about that because you're going to have more details coming.
Yeah, if you're watching the very end of the show, I really want Bree to do a Zoom lunch class for all of us, and y'all can come watch me like die on Zoom with everybody. I think it would be freaking hilarious. So if you're watching, like, I think we should do lunchtime, like, workouts with Bree. Like, make us, like Bree said, you have the time. You do have the time.
So that will be coming, yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, that was a fun show. I so appreciate you coming, Bree. Thank you. And y'all, it's Friday. It is Cinco de Mayo. If you're gonna partake, I know we have people watching who do. Please Uber, be safe, whatever.
Drink responsibly.
Drink responsibly. That's like the worst thing that I could ever like imagine. If anybody on my network was hurt, I'd be so sad for y'all. Like, no. Be responsible. Get an Uber. It's much cheaper than a DUI. And with that, we're gonna go. This was fun. I hope y'all enjoyed it and come back next week. Oh, really quick, next week we got Sendoso in the house. Katie Penner. We're gonna do a lot of Sendoso giveaways. Whoop, whoop. And then the week after that, we got cookies. So you better come for prizes for the next couple weeks. Yeah. 3 p.m. Eastern every week. See you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.